Does the sound work? Let's make sure that the sound actually works this week. Because, that's been an issue. I had to do some restarting of things before the live stream. So please let me know in the chat if you can actually hear me. Sound is good. Great. Thanks, folks. I like to hear that the sound is working. Great. Tina says, I'm usually a silent viewer. I just want to pop in and say hi. I always learn something new from your lives. Oh, and I love to plan too. Great, welcome. Yeah, I do want to apologize that I had a plan to do a pretty in-depth live stream today about what is happening in China with the mortgage strike and what's happening with China's economy, which is very much in a recession right now. But quite honestly, so the air quality has been really bad in Portland. It's not nearly as bad as it was like 5 years ago when it was in the 500s AQI, like past the AQI scale. But it's been in like the 150s, and thank gosh we actually have an air purifier now, which we did not have that last time. It was really bad and the sky was completely red. But I pretty much just have no motivation, and I'm going to blame the air quality. It might not be the air quality, but I'm going to blame the air quality. So I decided I got a lot of stuff going on. Once again, as I've mentioned multiple times the past couple weeks, I am back to having 3 jobs, which seems to be my default setting in life. And so we're going to just do a cozy planner stream. And yes, it is in the 90 degrees outside, so in the 30s if you're outside of the US. It is hot outside. However, I have decided it's autumn, like on a personal level, because essentially like my summer of fun, where I was doing lots of bike rides and pedalpalooza, and I wasn't working nearly as much, is way over as of mid-August, and like I am back to the nose to the grindstone, have a lot of things going on, a lot of work, and therefore it just feels like it's the new chapter. It's autumn, even though the weather doesn't quite agree. Also, I was going to do like a cozy candlelight, but you can't set fires right now because we already have too many fires in the state of Oregon, including like you should not burn candles. So this is what we're going to do today. I also want to talk a little bit through budgeting, so at least we have some finance content on this live stream that is talking dough and eating donuts, so at least talk about money a little bit. And the main thing I want to talk about is because I have 3 jobs again, but all of these jobs are paying me via they're freelance income. One of them is my business. One of them is the investment advisory firm that I work for. And then the other is my old transit job I am contracting for right now, like probably for the next couple months until things get busy again at my investment advisory firm job. And they are all freelance income, which is great in that like I get paid like a chunk of change, but I have to take taxes out. And I kind of need to wade through. I haven't been making very much money this year because I was like studying for my licensing exams, and I wasn't working full time. And things took like longer to start at my new job as far as income. So now I'm making a lot of money, but I gotta set stuff aside for taxes, and I'm trying to like do a prioritization of how I'm rebuilding some of the savings that I've been living off of this year, which luckily mostly Oh My Dollar has like paid my living expenses even after accounting for taxes and business expenses. But I haven't been building any savings really this year other than a couple contributions to my SEP IRA, which reduces my taxable expenses, obviously. So we'll just kind of like wade through my strategies for that. One thing that I'm really running into is that I normally would have all of my freelance income coming into my business account. And that's because almost all of my freelance income generally is Oh My Dollar related. So for example, one of the pieces of freelance income I have right now is for writing an advice column for Slate. The first one comes out tomorrow. So that is finance related and is about making finance content, which is what Oh My Dollar, my business is. And therefore that money goes into that account. However, I am now doing 2 other pieces of work that really don't fit that category, but all of my structures about how I save for taxes were really based on my accounting in my business. And technically it is me as a different entity. It is Lillian Carebake, like LLC, sole proprietor, versus Oh My Dollar LLC, which is a separate business. So I've kind of got to like sort out what I'm doing because now money is coming into my personal account, which normally the money that hits my personal account is post taxes because I will have money come into my business account. I'll allocate it to all my business expenses, do the calculations of how much I need to set aside for taxes, and then move it into my business savings account so that when I need to pay my tax bills, I will do it out of there. Now I have money that really shouldn't go into my Oh My Dollar account because it would muddy the accounting on that. So it's coming into my personal account, but I don't have like a system set up for taxes there. So yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. Aaron says, oh, your LED lights have a candle effect. They do have a candle effect. I thought about using that, but I decided to go for like the orangey kind of style also because, yeah, there's a lot of fires here. New Bold One says, I do not like this flaming sky stuff for you or anyone. Yeah, it's not great. The AQI, I think we're all like a little traumatized by how bad it was. Gosh, was that last year or the year before? I think it was the year before. Last year was the super hot day, and then the year before that was the super bad AQI where we were the worst in the world. Right now, Seattle has, I think, the worst AQI in the world. It started to come down around 11 a.m. today, so just like half an hour ago, it started to drop. It was like at 150 AQI this morning, which is unhealthy for everyone. And I think now it's like in the low hundreds, which is unhealthy for sensitive groups. The thing for me is that you can't really go running or exercising outside, which is how I get around like the way that I move through the world and commute anywhere is by bike. So it's best to not like stress your system by doing that in bad AQI. You can wear a mask and everything, but since we have an air purifier and our house is no longer terrible the way it was that year when we didn't have an air purifier, it was even worse outside, I'm kind of just staying home. Maggie in DeWood says, I had to work outside all day yesterday and it was rough in Seattle. Oh, I'm so sorry, Maggie. That sounds really bad. Yeah, I hope you were at least wearing like a K95 or an N95. You need an N95 for AQI. It doesn't, you need like super small particulate filters. I actually have one that doesn't work for the pandemic, but I got it prior to the bad air quality. That's like a valve mask with like changeable filters on the inside. I look like a total space alien when I wear it, but it is for biking on when it is bad air quality outside. Eric says AQI is a good culprit. It's not 150 during most of the year. Yes, luckily, because we live in a place where generally that is not true. I will say like the air quality is that bad in a lot of industrial developing countries. Also indoor air quality is a huge issue in the developing world, and it particularly affects women who are cooking because they're not necessarily cooking on things that have good ventilation. They're often using like dung or something like that as their fuel source. And so, it's a very privileged position to whine about it. We are not under threat of any evacuations or anything. Also, the power company was saying that they were doing rolling blackouts. But luckily, both power companies, we have 2 in kind of Oregon, both power companies have not put our area in the list of rolling blackouts. And the reason they're doing rolling blackouts is they're trying to turn off transmission on the lines because the fire risk is so high. We're at like a red flag warning. So New World One says, having lived in Kathmandu for several years, I can empathize. Different kind of air pollution there, but same thing. Not good to be outside. Yeah, I had to work outside when I lived in the industrial port city in Goa, and it is like the air quality is very, very bad, and then additionally the heat is really high, and the humidity, so like it just feels thick. Anyway, I understand I'm in a position of privilege, so yeah, welcome. Philip says autumn of action. Yeah, that's how it feels. So this right here is my overhead camera, so I think we can switch to the overhead camera here and do some planning. I'm going to be planning in my Hobonichi Cousin of VAC. Also, if you guys want to talk about next year's planners, I know it seems a little early, but it is the time to buy a lot of the planners, especially if you are pre-ordering them or getting them from abroad. And therefore, I need to do that. So this is last week's spread, well, the current week's spread, and it is, hopefully everybody can see that, and it is all set up. So yeah, you can see yesterday, part of the reason that I'm not doing the live stream that I planned on today is that yesterday I essentially just had my therapist told me to call them idea days, but instead of lost days, but essentially I had a catter day. I sat under the cat on the couch. We have this house project going on right now, and we're approaching the time where we have to make a lot of purchasing decisions. And I used to always complain about, I had to work with a lot of like rich people when I was a fundraiser, and all these rich people would always be like, "Oh, we're remodeling our kitchen. It's so stressful." And I'd be like, "Oh my God, seriously, you're complaining about remodeling your house?" I mean, I didn't say that to their face, but I would think that. I was like, what a bourgeoisie problem. But now that we're building a triplex and I see how many decisions are involved with building something or remodeling, I have a lot more sympathy. Yes, it is a privileged problem to have, but darn it is real stressful. So, okay. And so this is last week. What I'm going to be using, I actually got stickers because I was so stressed out. I got stickers from Sweet Kawaii Designs, which is actually based in Portland. And I got all these like adorable autumn stickers. And I'm not one to use like an absolute ton of stickers compared to some people. Like I don't use full kits, but I figured maybe I'll go after it. And I'm going to do this like pumpkin spiced latte themed thing this week. So should we do the list first or should we decorate first? I think we should decorate first. Let's decorate first. Okay, so let's do, we've got a this week sticker. I think we'll do that there. And also it's kind of funny because I can't even like, I used to be a Starbucks partner, but I can't even drink the pumpkin spice lattes at Starbucks. But that doesn't mean I can't make them at home. And they are delicious. Everybody, it's nice to have a little autumn treat. There's actually like a nice vegan grocery or vegan coffee shop close to me, and they always do some fun seasonal ones. Most of the like fancy lattes at Starbucks, if you happen to be interested, are vegan, but the pumpkin spice latte like mix has it in there. Okay. So we're going to do like all of these. And this is a Hobonichi Cousin like kit, so it should fit in here, which is always exciting to get stickers that like actually just are meant for the planner, because I don't tend to get that very much. Maggie in DeWood says, "Oh my God, so excited for both these stickers and pumpkin spice season." Yeah, we have a espresso maker in our house, so I will probably do a little making myself some fancy lattes. One of the things I need to put on my list is we are very overdue for a descaling of the espresso machine. We have actually very soft water in Portland, so we don't have to do it very often, but I have been having a lot of trouble with it, so. You can tell I'm not that into stickers, because like people that are super into stickers have like little tweezers to put these down. I feel like I would rather not spend my money on that. But maybe I would have more upright placement if I did that. These are really cute though, aren't they? I feel like they're extremely cute. I gotta decorate the planners because I'm actually just so genuinely stressed about how much I have going on this week. And this month. This whole fall, I have so much going on. So it's pretty much a sprint till end of year season now for me. Um, like, I think I'll get a relax when the last day for shipping by Christmas happens, which is like a big deadline in the people who sell things on the internet world. But yeah. Go Web Technology says, hopped on from Aaron's Live. Hello, welcome. So, this is Talking Dough and Eating Donuts, but we're not really talking that much about economics this week, which is part of our thing. But we'll talk about the budget a little bit. But I forgot to introduce the donut. Thank you for reminding me by being new here. This is a carrot cake donut, and I can't tell what it's sprinkled with, but it does have gold flakes on it. I asked for the prettiest one. Also, I just appreciate how perfectly it fits in this little plate. But the gold flakes are, like, pretty fabulous, right? So, we'll eat that in a bit. All right, y'all. Okay, so we did the top ones. Now, let's do, like, a bottom deco. So, what do we want to go with? If we want to kind of stay within the orange theme, but we want to make it with trains, because trains are always great, I have this washi tape of the Shinkansen line that is orangish. This is amazing. Also is from Sweet Kawaii Designs. This adorable, like, bat washi tape, but I feel like it's a little too, I mean, as much as I'm bringing autumn early, I feel like it's like even maybe a little early to bring Halloween. So, and then I do have this coffee washi tape that I used last week, but this is a washi tape dispenser, by the way, but I like how I say I'm not going to spend tweezers, but I do have 2 washi tape dispensers. New Bold One says, Gold Flakes and Carrot Cake. Sounds like a song title. Abel Jack says, everything is trash, and I sign on just in time to see a depressing donut. What? You think that's a depressing donut? I think it's exciting. Do you not like carrot cake? Looks like a blob with an open mouth and a golden eye. I think it's very pretty. Jackie says, Target has my favorite pumpkin spice coffee. They just have spices mixed into the grounds and you can drink it black. Oh, interesting. I'm usually too much of a snob to do like the flavored coffee kind of thing. Maybe it's worth checking. Jackie says, was this on Etsy? I think I've seen this pack. Was tempted to get this for a friend of mine who makes boba games. I don't know if she sells on Etsy, but she sells on Sweet Kawaii Designs. So you can check her website. But her stuff is adorable. It's also carried in some Michaels, but I think a lot of her... Okay, so I do have these 2, and I could use this as like a bottom washi tape, but frankly, I think I want to keep these together and like save them for a week together, right? That makes sense. Yeah, let's lean more into the pumpkin spice latte situation. Oh, let's do this weekend banner. I'm sorry, I know I'm not doing anything, absolutely anything that is doing a good job of... I'm extremely bad at putting stickers on straight, but you know, we just gotta live with it. Okay. We've got these little like weekly trackers, and I like to put these down here. I track Duolingo, and then I track stretching. So let's do the teal one too. And put these down here. The train would keep you on track, lol. We could do the train. I mean, I always like a nice train. always. Let's do it. It's a little off, like, theme, but sometimes you just gotta lean into the color theme more than anything else. By the way, I just definitely did not put the train straight on, so your predictions were incorrect. All right. I never use this bottom corner, so we can put this like little pumpkin spice deco sticker there. And then should we do the leaves are calling? Which any of these we're excited about. This the leaves are calling and bubble and pumpkin spice is I see some slightly falling leaves, so let's pretend. Let's pretend that the leaves are falling. I see some slightly golden leaves. This looks like a child designed it, but I'm okay with that. I'm just like, we're fully leaning into the ridiculousness. I have this, but I don't have another one. I've already used it up. So, I used it on this one. I was so excited when I got it. Okay. All right, let's see. Now we've got these guys. I know these are supposed to be to-do lists, but I could actually use them as like deco up here. Yep, I'm on board with that. I like to check things off in boxes, so I tend to not like these like decorative to-dos don't end up working for me as well as I hope. Just call me an artist. Here we go. You know, I think one of the cool things about the planner community is that you get to support small artists, and I think it's really phenomenally cool how many small artists make stickers and have it as a full-time job. Like Sweet Kawaii Designs, like she employs multiple people in her family. Okay. There we go. I put the donut on the live stream because there was a pumpkin spice themed donut in here. And, yeah, it's a little early for pumpkins, but, you know, sometimes we just gotta do that. Okay. Should we actually do the list now that I'm avoiding too much? We need to do a work hours this week. Actually, well... This is where I mark my little work hours. I track my work hours in Toggle, which I've been using for a bazillion years. But I like to have a little graph like over here because I track it based on like which assignments I do and everything. So we'll put a working sticker over it. And that's mainly because you can't use gel pens to write on these stickers, which is why I'm not writing directly on them, because I don't know if I actually have any stickers that I can use. Okay. Like, or I don't know if I have any pens that'll work on it. You're supposed to use permanent pens. Philip says, never let perfect be the enemy of good. Yeah, also, like, I don't make a living from planning. I don't need my stuff to look beautiful. I like a little bit of whimsy in it, but like my, you know, as you can tell by my daily pages, some people make beautiful, beautiful pages. And most of my pages are just to-do lists for the average day. I don't make beautiful stuff, so. Okay, I have most of my actual appointments in here, which is great. So I can just add like a couple stickers to these just to, you know, zhuzh it up. And that's pretty much all we have to do with those. You know what? I just realized there's like number stickers that I'm not going to use in the weekly boxes. So I can use them on these. So Monday is the 12th. Because these are meant for your like monthly boxes. I hate undated planners, and then yet I just covered up the dates that were already there because... But 1 week at a time, I'm unlikely to screw it up. The reason I hate undated planners is I cannot be trusted to do things like fill in the dates on the planner all at once on like a monthly and not screw it up. I'm just not good at that kind of thing. Even if I was like using stickers and I'm trying to go months out in advance, there's just no way. Hope I'm getting this right, y'all. Oh yeah, today is September 11th, so in memory of the folks who died at the World Trade Center. I mean, it's... we had probably a cousin who died, but, you know, never been identified, like many of the victims. All right. Let's... Okay, I have show rehearsal. Yeah, so this is the first week I actually have show rehearsal, which is kind of a big deal. I am doing my first like public skating performance in, I don't know, maybe 20 years. This week, or next month, to Thriller. With my, it's very low-key. It's not like a big skating performance because I needed to kind of ease into it. I've been getting very like stressed out or like spending too much energy worrying about choreographing a program and stuff like that. And this way I'm just going to be in probably group numbers. They'll probably have me do like a solo or something because I'm a lot higher level than the average person that skates at that rink. Because that rink is more for like people that are learning to skate. There's a couple people like me there that are just like older and used to be really good and like now are, you know, okay skaters. Oh my gosh, I forgot I have this cat that says this is fine. And we definitely need to put this on today. I know it's... We should put it on yesterday too because it's on fire and it is on fire in Portland. So... That's it. That's all. That's my update for you. I'm trying to look for my skating sheet. I thought... Where is it? Cool. I lost my skate stickers, which is annoying. Those are semi-important as far as stickers go. I mean, no sticker is important, but as far as stickers go, it is a thing I need to mark on a regular basis. How annoying. Where did they go? Okay, haha. I found a skating sticker. I mean, these are cats, which are not my normal ones, but we can use it at least. Okay, so this is show rehearsal tomorrow. So we'll find out how that goes. But the nice part is I'm not in charge of choreographing anything. And then I have skating class. I should probably, my coach wants me to, you know, I've been getting up at 3:55 in the morning on Thursdays to bike up to the, to a different state, actually, to skate at the 6 a.m. session. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm knocking things over. Ignore me. He wants me to do my lesson, which is my private lesson at 7 a.m. The main reason I don't want to do it is that I really, because I have these open signal classes, this is a studio class at the public access station on Wednesday nights. I can't go to bed on time to get enough sleep to get up at 3:55 a.m. because the classes don't get out till like 9. Um, and frankly, it costs me a lot of money to do a private lesson. Like it's $40 for a half an hour lesson, but then it's also 2 hours of my time commuting up there and back. And then it's the ice time went up by 15% without them warning us. So now for a 90-minute freestyle, it costs $23. It used to cost 20, which I think is unreasonable. So I think I'm going to tell him that I can't do it this week, and then I don't have to pay. So I think that's my plan for this week, is instead of doing that. What can we put for the audio class? Do we have any like themed ones? I'm really doing a great job of avoiding making my to-do list because I'm scared of it, huh? Here, we can put a tiny pumpkin on the open signal class. Then, all right, let's do the list, y'all. I'm really putting it off, but it's time. Last week, I separated them out into, like, categories. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So let's actually do little, like, fall creatures. I think that would be kind of fun. By the way, here's some of the fabulous Halloween ones. Oh, I forgot I have those. I could have done that. Some really great Halloween stickers, but here's little creatures I can use as my sort of like, this is my to-dos. So let's call this first one, this pumpkin dude kind of looks like a O, so we can call this the Oh My Dollar. So I have slate, deadline, I have email to list because I actually want to email my list that my slate column comes out on Monday. Then I have a podcast edit, recorded already, just need to edit it, and then post it there. Podcast transcribe. And live stream. Then I have a Patreon video coming out sometime this week, so I need to finish this massive budget post that I'm working on, that I have been working on. I think I'll chunk out like a fair amount of time for that one. And is that it for Oh My Dollar to-dos? I think I have like a draft of what my... Okay, I have... Oh. I have a forum logo issue. We have like a weird problem where the Oh My Dollar logo is shrinking on Android for some reason for the forums. And we think we found a fix, but I need to do it probably today, actually, so I don't even need to put it next week. What do you think? What do you guys think sticker I should choose for? So we've got the creative to-dos. Okay, so Oh My Dollar, I'm going to make be this teal, which matches some of the colors in this. Then the next one needs to be my life. I'm going to do my life to-dos. I think I'll do this guy. How did I do it last week? So I am trying to sell this damn bed frame on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm just having the worst time with it. So hopefully I can do it. I've had a lot of interest, but then everybody flakes. So I don't know what I need to do. I tried like lowering the price if you'll come pick it up. I think part of the problem is that it is a bed frame. The other part of the problem is that it is not located in the house where I live and I work all the time. So when someone says they're going to come meet me, I have to go up there. And when people flake, it causes a lot more stress, and like coordinating that is frustrating. So life to do, sell bed frame. I think, do I have anything to do with the triplex this week? I think I want to schedule flooring. We're going to search for flooring stuff soon. I want to just get it on the schedule because I'm worried that time is getting away from us now. Oh, crap. I have to do the 2022 stickers. Oh, man. Running into the things there. Forgot that there's a thing that has to get carried over. Schedule flooring. Oh, and then I have to do contact appointment. I need to... For some reason, they don't schedule it like a year out when you do it. I feel like they should, like the dentist does. Okay, email a list. Studying for my certification. That'll go in the last thing. Deal with form ads. Oh, and then it's kind of a life to do, but it's also volunteering to do. But B signage. We need to order new signage for the new bridge. There we go. And then the final one will be, I think, this little guy. That is my other two jobs. The good news, I don't really have to do very many to-do lists like on a weekly basis for my one contracting job because I just work on an individual ticket, so I like manage those outside my planner. So form ads, PPP, studying. This is for a certification. And one-on-one. I think that's right. Oh, I also need to invoice someone. Okay. Let's color these in. This one does not blur. This doesn't get as screwed up nearly as much as the other one. You know, I think I have a bright teal that I could use for this that matches this little guy. There we go. Color that in later when it won't. Yeah, teal and orange is one of my favorite color combos too. I figured there's like a little bit of teal in here. Okay, it doesn't look that bad, but it feels really stressful to me. I feel like I'm missing something, y'all. It really does feel like I'm missing something. I guess we'll find out if I'm missing something. I should probably put a meal plan in here, realistically, but I'm not. Okay, well, there's my non-beautiful planner thing, you know? Sometimes you just gotta add a lot of ridiculousness to your planner. Not entirely sure how I'm gonna get this all done this week, but we'll see. We should put time estimates on this. Okay. Sell bed. I don't even know. 2 hours of actual work, I think. Fix forums. I hope this will take like 30 minutes. Deal with B signage. That'll take an hour. Deal with forum ads. That'll take an hour. Catch up on Trillium. Obviously, 25 hours is what I try to contract. I need to finish this contract, which will take 30 minutes. PPP studying 5 hours. This will take me an hour probably. And then, let's say it takes 30 minutes to make a contact appointment. Okay. That seems okay, but I don't have any of like the podcast or writing in there. Yeah, hopefully it'll be fine. Your planner pages always look great to me. Clearly they work well for you. Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes I feel like they work well for me, and then sometimes I feel like the weeks when I'm most busy, quite honestly, my daily pages will be full of to-do lists that are just like boring to-do lists, whatever. I mean, no one needs to have pretty stuff. But yeah, the days when I'm most busy and most productive, I tend to mostly have this, and I don't tend to decorate a lot. But yeah, I'm getting more decoratey, probably because I've acquired too many. Yeah, like look at this. I was super busy this week, so that's why everything was just very light. And this was traveling. Okay. Let's do we want to talk about budgeting? Let's first eat this donut. How about that? And then any planner things that we need to talk about? Did we I hope that was nice and calming for people. I am definitely low-key stressed out about stuff that I need to do this week. It's all possible within the week, but it isn't gonna be a chill week, that's for sure. Also, I'm waiting. I don't have a Sharpie, and I need to write on these. I need a Sharpie. So I will fill those in later. Those bottom two. Okay. I feel like I'm forgetting something like this weekend or something, and that's why I'm more stressed. All right. Let's do the donut, y'all. All right, here is the donut for the week. We have the close-up cam. So this is a carrot cake donut with gold flakes on it, and I don't know what that dust is. Should we look up what that dust is? I don't know. It seems pretty cool. So, okay, I'm gonna tilt this out of the way so that you all can see my face while I eat it. Let's find out what that dust is on this. It definitely tastes like carrot cake. It's got the little carrot flakes on the inside, so it's real carrot cake. It has a cream cheese glaze, and that's lavender dust. Lavender and hibiscus dust. Well, people tell me, is cream cheese glaze traditional with carrot cake? I think one of the reasons I like carrot cake is that, like, overly sweet. Like, I don't like regular cake. Because regular cake is, like, so much about the frosting, and I don't really like frosting very much. And carrot cake is more like you're just eating a sweet bread. I gotta say, this is pretty fantastic. Rachel says cream cheese frosting on carrot cake. All right. Oh, carrot cake here in the UK often has lots of frosting. Does it here? As far as the donut, it's like it's a fine amount because it's really a hard kind of frosting on it. The gold tastes like nothing, just so you know, but it does look fun. This is really good. It's so good, I just want to keep eating it. Instead of chatting here. Y'all, tell me about, like, what planner system you're using right now, or if you're not using one. Are you using anything to organize yourself? Are you like mostly a digital person? I've now been using the Hobonichi Cousin for a year, which is almost a record in my world of planners. So, I I'm excited. I'm excited to try something new out. I ordered the Take a Note planner because essentially it's a page over 2 weeks, but each day has like a big column for vertical that you can use for to-dos or lists. And frankly, I don't need all the space that the Hobonichi has. I do not need to fill up a whole A5 page of to-dos every day. And I'm not really a journaler. I love looking at people that do beautiful journaling and put tons of stickers on their daily pages and like are great scrapbookers. I am not one of those people. I mostly use it as a functional tool. I like a little bit of stickers. I've gone a little bit more extreme with the stickers over the years than I used to. Just because I've acquired more. And, you know, a lot of people have expensive hobbies. And I don't spend so much on planner stickers and planner stationery that I am super worried about it. But I spend money on it like it is a hobby. Luckily, at least it's tax deductible because they're office supplies. Yeah, I'm going to say this is a 5 out of 5. You are correct. This is going to max out the rating. It is really good. 5 out of 5. It's like, if you don't like carrot cake, you won't like it. But quite frankly, it is just so good. So, yeah, 5 out of 5 rating for this donut. It's more just like a sweet bread. It's great. Jackie says, I think we do cream cheese frosting here in the US, but carrot cake is unfortunately less popular here. Yeah, it's not very popular. That was excellent, y'all. I love that. All right, I also promised some budgeting content so that at least this is kind of talking dough and eating donuts. Uh, Amanda Rackley. So Media Rex is using one from Amanda Rackley. Yeah, I've seen hers before. I think that one is a isn't that one like a daily or something like that? Or maybe it was undated. I just remember looking at it and being like, "Oh, I can't use it." But they look cool. I'm looking at it now. Ooh, it's very pretty on the outside. You know, I should have known that this was what I was going to spend my money on as an adult because, like, the thing I saved up for as a kid was that I would save up for Franklin Planners, and that was, like, bar none my favorite store in the mall to visit was Franklin Covey Planners. Franklin Covey, I think is how you pronounce it. But I also never liked 3-ring binders, like, ever, even when I had, like, a Trapper Keeper. Oh, did you know the inventor of the Trapper Keeper died, like, this week? Fun, not that interesting facts. I don't know if you know what a Trapper Keeper is, but if you went to school in the 90s in the United States, you definitely know what a Trapper Keeper is. Anyway, it's not really surprising that this is the thing that I spend money on as an adult. Oh, Meteorex says it's monthly. Nice. I can't do just only monthly. Like, I really want physically to write down to-dos. And even though I use, like, a bunch of other systems for, like, tracking my time and for, like, recurring to-dos, and I use Google Calendar for work, I like the act of transferring it into that weekly vertical format more than anything else. But that's cool. I love it when we get to support, like, small businesses that have planners. So I designed, like, a pocket budget planner that we had that I sold till I ran out of them, and my distributor ran out of them, I think early last year. And I have been thinking about doing a budget planner for next year, another physical budget planner for Oh My Dollar. I need to decide relatively soon because I need to put in the order with the distributor. I was thinking instead of pocket, I would go a larger size. Let me see if I can find the one that I designed. But my concern is maybe my audience is not quite big enough. The overlap. I mean, we sold all of the first ones, but my audience is not nearly as big as some of the people that do have. So this was what it was before, and it's got little, various budgeting templates and everything, and it's just a budget planner. But it's really cute. It has Kitty Star budget on the front, and I want to make like an A5 version of this that you can use for a little longer, but I'm still trying to decide if it makes sense or not to do it, because I'd have to put in the order. They are undated, ironically, and my distributor would absolutely sell them again, which means they'll get into physical stores and stuff like that. But Maggie Underwood says, "Oh, I have one of those little pocket ones of yours from way back that I've never used. Forum prize. Nice. Well, they're in very low. There's very few of them out there still anymore because I think we did a print run of 500 and they're totally sold out now. You also might have, if you back the Kickstarter, for the second book, they were like a bonus perk in the Kickstarter for a certain level. So for the Cat's Guide to Money. New World One says, I aspire to planning very hard, like a lot of aspirations. Yeah, I understand that. I think one of the things that's really challenging about planning, both in physical planners and in like any kind of productivity systems, is that curse of like you'll spend more time researching the systems and setting it up in place than you actually use it to be productive. And I have reconciled that for me, I could be productive without a physical planner, but the act of transferring it and handwriting it is both soothing to me, and it was very helpful as someone who seems to consistently have 3 jobs, and had at one point 5 jobs. So as someone who's like often balancing a lot of things and a lot of different projects, what I do like about seeing my time on physical paper is like you can stack as many things as you want on Google Calendar. You can stack as many things as you want on a to-do list on Todoist or whatever, on Wunderlist. And it is very helpful for me to have the physical limitation of space. I also, part of one of the reasons I appreciate it is because I didn't have use of my hand. Like I couldn't hold a pen for almost 8 years, like including all through college, because I had untreated rheumatoid arthritis, because American healthcare is a hellscape. And so now the fact that I can hold a pen, the fact that I can write by hand is very delightful to me. And I still can't write terribly long. Like I can't do like 2 straight pages of writing. One of the reasons I actually use a fountain pen, which has dropped on the floor now, but I use a fountain pen as my like kind of main writing, is because it's actually easier. Like it flows better on my hands. And I don't have great hands, and I'm not positive that they won't degrade again over time, because at any point my effective drug could stop working. The fact that I have all this permanent joint damage in my hands. So I delight in doing it as an act of appreciation to the fact that I can hold a pen now. So yeah, because like when I was in college, I had to take all of my notes on a computer, and I got really, really good at using LaTeX because because I was an economics major, I took a lot of math classes. I took a lot of macroeconomics that have like long equations and everything, and you can't type that quickly in other kinds of programs. But LaTeX, you can type it relatively quickly for note taking. And this was before like iPads were really common and stuff like that. I think now people are like able to use iPads much better for note taking. And it certainly iPad was not in my like I think they came out my sophomore, junior year, but there wasn't like a ton of utility for them yet. And additionally, they were like out of my price range, I would say. All of this to say that, wait, iPads didn't come. Yeah, I didn't have an iPhone till my senior year. And so but I adopted like smartphones pretty late. I don't know. Anyway, all of this to say, um, in classes where it was just not possible to take notes as fast as I can, like obviously there's a lot of graphs, so I use this program called Omnigraph Sketcher that would allow me to draw really like quick graphs because a lot of graphs in economics are just about which way the line is pointing. It's not actually about the numbers on the graph. And Omnigraph Sketcher is still like the best thing for drawing quick graphs, in my opinion, on your computer. But yeah, I can type pretty easily, especially if I have a soft keyboard. Like I can't have those like super clackety clacky keyboards that people really love because that's just too much pressure on my hands. Um, but in the classes where I couldn't take the notes, I actually, the college, like as part of my ADA accommodation, paid one of my classmates to take notes for me. So I would get like uh, copies of my classmates' notes. And I went to a really small college. So in some of those like upper level classes, there'd only be like 4 or 5 of us. So I don't know. It was kind of nice that the college paid someone to take notes for my class. When I was at community college and I needed a note taker, they just like ask for volunteers, which is, it's nice that they have a larger class, but I think it's kind of unfair to like introduce all of this work and like have to, you're at the mercy of another student who's not doing it for pay as a volunteer for note taking. It's just kind of a bummer. So yeah. This was also before like I had like a camera on the phone. I probably could have like taken pictures of the boards and scanned them and stuff like that with an iPhone now. So there's a lot of tools now. The accessibility of this world for people with disabilities, with chronic illnesses, because of technology has grown leaps and bounds. There wasn't like recorder pens and stuff like that, like barely existed. So yeah. I don't know why I just went into that nostalgia thing. Jackie says, that's so interesting. I work at a community college in Chicago and we employ professional note takers in the disability access department. Oh, that's really fascinating. Yeah, also that, last time I took a community college class where I needed note taking was probably like, I want to say 13 or 14 years ago. So it's been a while, like maybe 12 years ago, but it's been a while. Maybe things have changed. I also probably wouldn't need a note taker anymore because there's one, I have better use of my hands now, and two, thanks to my $12,000 a month drug. And then additionally, I have a lot more tools that I can use for accessibility that wouldn't rely on another student to take notes for me. Like for example, I have an iPad now and I could probably type and like while also taking pictures of the boards and stuff like that. Eric says, we have them at the private 4-year uni where I work too. Interesting. I cannot imagine like a professional note taker. What is that job? Like, is that their full-time job? Are they freelance professional note takers? What are their qualifications? Because I think the question for me that would be very fascinating is like, the thing about why it was very helpful to have other fellow economic students, I went to a very, very small college. And because of that, my department was one of the largest departments because I was in economics, and therefore, and it was right after on the heels of the financial collapse. So a lot of people are interested in doing economics. And then additionally, because it's a small private liberal arts college, it has a lot of international students to help balance the budget. International students that wanted to stay in the United States would often major in economics if they didn't want to major in hard sciences so that they could get a STEM degree, which would give them extra years to try to find a job in the field based on some like immigration rules here in the United States. So you essentially get more time if you get a STEM degree and like more ability to like have a work visa after you graduate. And so, I knew quite a few people that were actually more interested in other parts of like the liberal arts curriculum. They want to major in art or linguistics or something like that, even though I think linguistics is as much a science as economics. But economics would be a good in-between degree because it does qualify for the STEM specification. So I had a friend who didn't want to go back to their country, which was Bangladesh, because they like just socially, Bangladesh was really challenging for them, and they wanted to stay in the United States. So they switched their major to economics, not because they were deeply passionate about economics. But anyway, all of this to say, I feel like having a professional note taker that doesn't have a background in economics, when we were doing like really long macroeconomics problems and everything, I feel like that would be challenging. It's part-time and I don't know what the qualifications are. I imagine it's different at different schools. Yeah, I'm just really fascinated. I'm trying to imagine being like, I think that would be great for someone that wants to be like a lifetime learner, is just be a note taker. That sounds kind of fun. Eric says, I have a sense it's part-time, like people who do captioning for recorded lecture videos. Yeah, interesting. Although most of the captioners I know are freelance and they run their own business, and then like that would be a client of theirs versus like working for the university. But I would be fascinated. Yeah, that I also like, I didn't go to a college that had, even during the pandemic, they came back to in person like really early. And that's because like they have a very kind of particular way they do it, and I think Zoom classes just really didn't work for the style, like the way that you learn math at the college I went to. Like calculus was taught via the Socratic method, and everything was proof based in the mathematics department. Everything's like Socratic method, and therefore it just doesn't work quite as well on Zoom. I mean, I think there's a lot of things that really struggle with Zoom learning, and there's also a lot of ways in which creating accessibility for students and facilitating that was great. I got a very good education, but I think I would be a much better student now with the tools that I know about that are available than I was even then, because there's just a lot of ways to make it more accessible, to understand. Like, there's a lot of resources, like there's Crash Course, which a lot of students use as sort of tutorials on basics, and that would have been very helpful. But unfortunately, none of that existed when I was in school. So I'm happy that I was able to go and I was able to not take out student debt. But sometimes I wonder. And I already waited to go to school. There would have been even less resources if I had gone right after I left high school. But I went and I flamed out within like 6 months and worked at a grocery store, and then moved to a hippie commune, and took a couple years before I went to college. But that also meant that my parents' income didn't count for financial aid. We're getting real off track here. Do you all want to see budgeting stuff? Is that interesting? We can also just talk about all the stuff I want to buy. And how I'm gonna strategize around this. I'm kind of curious if we want to do some economic stuff, or it's been an hour and y'all need to move on with your life. We can do, okay, so we do want to talk about budgeting stuff, at least according to Maggie. Speaking of iPad, speak of the devil, let's turn off my iPhone. Y'all, when it comes to budgeting, I really should be budgeting for a new iPhone. My iPhone is like, was fully charged when I started this stream, and just the act of screen recording for an hour has completely wiped it out. Meteor X says ditto. Newbold One says, with my sensible head on, budgeting comes before shopping, right? Well, that's the thing, is I've been shopping for quite a while, but refusing to buy anything. And this is largely because it has been, I've been doing an excellent job of making it work on not that much income this year. But one of the downsides of this is that, quite realistically, oh yeah, there we go. So this is what I spent in August. As you can tell, groceries were the highest that they have ever been in all of my years, and I do not like it at all. And my rent also went up at the end of July, so this is my new rent price. But I'm not mad about that, because we've lived here for coming up on 6 years. I think, yeah, coming up on 6 years this fall, and that was the first time they raised the rent on us, so I'm not mad about it. And because of the relocation assistance, laws in Portland now. If they raise it more than 10% in a rolling 12-month period, they have to pay us relocation assistance. So it only went up, I think it went up 7.5% or something, close to that. Yeah, it wasn't as bad as it could have been. It wasn't great. I'm not gonna say it was great, but so yeah, this is last month's expenses. It looks a little high as well because I paid my annual renter's insurance premium, which I saved for in a sinking fund, and then figure skating. So this is the thing that I'm really wrestling with right now, is that I took 15 years off from figure skating. I used to be a fairly high level skater, and the I took 15 years off for a bunch of reasons. One, it's a homophobic and sexist sport. I had a lot of like stress related to that. And then I also knew I wasn't like I had reached the kind of end of my career in as a teenager. It was clear that I wasn't really going to go much further, and so, did other things with my life. It is so expensive and it is very hard on your body, especially at the level that I was doing it at, that I didn't keep it up. I didn't pick up my skates. I picked them up like once or twice for like a public skate with friends, but not any kind of serious competing. And then in mid 2019, I decided to just see if I could give it a go again. What it was like doing it as an adult, how many skills I'd lost, blah, blah, blah. I have retained almost all of the like core skills. I'm still like good at the basic skating skills, crossovers, spins, single jumps, rockers, choctaws, blah, blah, blah. I had the equivalent, we call it a gold medal in figure skating, but I had the equivalent of the black belt of figure skating. So I had the highest level of the figure skating tests already passed. So the same test that you're required to take to go to the Olympics. And so I'd already achieved that. And the way that figure skating works in the United States under the United States Figure Skating Association is that you can't go back down. So no matter how many years you take off from the sport, you're stuck at the highest level of what you did when you compete. The good news is that I'm older now, so there's adult competitions where I wouldn't be competing against, for example, 14-year-olds that can do triple flips, because my body cannot do triples anymore. I don't even do doubles anymore. However, what I ended up deciding to do was just enjoy it as a fun kind of side activity, because obviously I wasn't going to be training 25, 30 hours a week the way I was when I was a teenager. I wasn't going to be trying to go to nationals. So I decided to, and like most of the people I know and skated with ended up going on to skate professionally in some capacity. Either they became a coach, they skated for Disney on Ice, they went to Florida and they skated for the theme parks there. So almost everybody I knew, I skated with and I trained with went on to do skating professionally. I instead moved to a hippie commune in the middle of the woods in Oregon, didn't pick up my skates for 15 years. The coming back, the reason that I started to tease around with it was that I had a more flexible schedule in the year 2019. I was working fully for myself, and skating takes a ton of time. And I was like, oh, I'll just give it a shot. I'll see what I got going on. I really enjoyed it because it is nice to do something that you have that level of muscle memory for. Like, I am better than most people I share the ice with at the like regular rink that I go to, because it's mostly a public skating rink. It's mostly people learning to skate. I'm not learning to skate. I'm just getting better at specific skills. But because I didn't want to compete at the level that I was before, even amongst the adult competitions. And I never really loved competing. I loved performing, but I didn't love competing. I liked having a program. There's a lot of rules around figure skating competitions, and but they're really expensive. You spend a ton of money to prep and go travel to some suburban ice rink somewhere in the United States. because I'm not doing international competitions except maybe the Vancouver, BC International Skating Union adult competition. Like, I'm not going to internationals. And it's hundreds and hundreds of dollars for essentially a vacation where you spend most of your time smelling Zamboni fumes and sweat. So when I came back, I ended up mostly skating at this very small rink that's in the mall. Tanya Harding used to skate there. If you didn't know, she's from Portland. The She actually used to teach there as well. It's a very small rink. It's weirdly shaped. And the reason it being small and weirdly shaped is relevant here is once I came back, I realized one of the ways that I could enjoy this as a thing to do again, where I would have things to work on, is test what is called ice dancing, which is a totally different track. And I had done like some pair skating and I had done a little bit of ice dancing, but I hadn't really taken any tests. So I decided I was going to do ice dancing. But in the beginning, I was just testing it. I was just seeing if it was fun. So the local rink was a good place to put my feet in the water because it's a quick ride from me. And if you sign up for a group class, which I don't need any of the group classes. They're at a much, I used to teach those group classes. So like they're at a much lower level than like I'm learning anything actively. But there is one group class that is on Wednesday mornings that is almost entirely like people at roughly my level, like people that used to skate for like the ice capades in the 60s or 70s and 80s, that are now just like retired and do it for fun, but fun and a little bit of exercise. There is a Wednesday morning class taught by an ice dancer, and it's just like us in an empty mall, all adults, rocking out to Pink Floyd doing like synchronized skating. It's kind of like mesmerizing to watch, I would say. And if you sign up for that, you get unlimited access to public skate. Public skate has its downsides. I can't do like jumps and spins, which I'm not really doing a ton of anymore. Certain jumps and spins because it's too dangerous and too crowded at public skate. And then the other thing is, in order to go when it's not crowded, I have to go like midday weekdays, which is challenging when you have a regular work schedule, right? Because it's a lot of time. And it's just, it means you have to take a big chunk out of the middle of your day. But I was doing that. I was tracking the marginal cost per hour of skating. And it was costing me around $3 or $5 an hour because I'd pay this flat fee every like 7 weeks and I'd get unlimited public ice time. And, I'd just try to skate as many hours as I could fit in. And I was averaging like, I think 7 hours a week of skating roughly. And I do that one class, which I wasn't learning anything, but I was doing foundational skills, hanging out, meeting other adult skaters, which is nice because if you don't have a community in skating, it's kind of hard to keep going. But I reached this point where I wanted to switch to ice dancing. Ice dancing has set patterns you do on the ice. It's like ballroom dancing on ice. So there's no jumps and spins, but it's done with usually two people. It's actually mandated that it is a man and a woman in figure skating because women in ice dancing were just allowed to start wearing pants in competitions this summer. So that tells you how slow figure skating is at changing. The thing for me is that it is very hard in this small, weirdly shaped rink to do those ice dancing patterns. Also, I'm a very fast skater, like most people at my level are. And the speed that you get when you skate with another partner doing a pattern dance is such that it doesn't make sense most of the time in that public ice rink. So I pretty much have to go up to the suburbs. And I say up to because I go up to Vancouver. There's 3 other rinks in the Portland area. None of them are in the city of Portland. They're all like far out in the suburbs. So it takes me an hour essentially, no matter what mode I use to get to all of the rinks. And the one I go to is the one in the suburbs because I found a coach that I like there in order to test and take all of my ice dancing. But once you get to the point, so there's not like like I said, group lessons won't help me at the level I'm at. And that's just how it is in figure skating. It's a really, really expensive sport. I mean, our freaking tights are like $20 a piece. And that's just the tights. the skates themselves are thousands of dollars. So, um, I found a coach I liked for ice dancing, and I'm going to that rink. I'm also partially going to that rink because it is one of the rinks that's easiest to get to without using transit, and I don't get free transit through my job like I used to. So, when I first started skating, I was working second after I shortly after I started skating, before the pandemic shut everything down, I was working a job where I got free local transit. And because of that, I was like, cool, I can go out to the big rink in the suburbs where it's 40 minutes on the max, but then it's like 10 minutes of biking. So it's like 50 minutes, the same to roughly to get to the other rink. But, it's on the max. But round trip on the max cost me $5. So that adds $5 onto the cost of also having to pay for ice time, which is like $20 an hour for ice time for the kind of sessions that you need for what I do, the ice dancing sessions. And then on top of that, coaching. And standard rate for the coaches at the level I need is like $80 or $100 an hour. You usually do a half an hour lesson with them. And it just means that every time I bike to Vancouver now, it costs me $60+, like between paying for the freestyle session, paying for a coaching lesson. And that I haven't even paid for. I haven't renewed my membership for the United States Figure Skating Association because that's $200 a year. I haven't paid for any tests, which you have to be a member of the USFSA to qualify to take tests, and then you have to pay for the tests. And it's just, and then that isn't even to mention like competitions and the fact that I need new skates because my skates are 20 years old now. And I do need new skates, but I have to get customs because my feet are really screwed up from both arthritis and figure skating. And the only way that I can get skates that fit me is to get customs, but I can't just get the same customs because that company doesn't exist anymore. It's a whole thing. So all this to say, I am constantly thinking about whether or not figure skating is like worth it to me from the perspective of like, is the marginal cost per hour worth it? Is this something I should spend time and money on? And it keeps coming down into the case of it is worth spending money on because I enjoy it. It's more interesting to me than running in a circle for exercise. It's very skill based. A lot of the people I know that I skate with are in their like late 60s to early 80s that are like doing it because it's good. It uses your core, so it's like good for maintaining, like you have to have a lot of core strength in order to do it. And like remembering patterns and being able to do this very skill-based stuff is great. It's like very good. It keeps you young, essentially. It's more interesting to me than most other sports. I was absolutely like picked last in gym class all through school until I found this sport, and I didn't have to attend gym class anymore because I had to get up really early and go to the rink before school and come to school late and then get out of school early to go back to the rink. This was the only thing I've ever been athletic in. I run, I bike, but I'm not like, those aren't particularly soul satisfying activities to me. I do like dance, but dance kind of costs similar levels to figure skating for me. I could switch to roller skating, which would cost less money because you can do it outside. You don't have to pay for ice time. I'm not as good at roller skating. So like, I can do like single jumps and like maybe a double sow cow on my skates. But like I could take group lessons, for example. I can learn all the roller skating specific skills. But I've just been kind of going back and forth because I've been staring down a lot of expenses that I've been putting off in this sport, and the fact that I am now taking lessons. So I put off getting a private coach for about 2 years, more than 2 years, until this year. So I started in 2019. Obviously, skating was super paused during the pandemic, especially for me as an immunosuppressed person. But like I put off like 2 years after I started skating in total skating time and like 3 years after I started skating in like regular time before I got a private coach because I wanted to make sure like it was worth it to me. But I constantly am questioning if it's worth it. And I'm also questioning, is that kind of cheaper version of it that I was doing where I was just going to the rink and I was doing some sort of like, just fumbling around on public skate, is that worth it to me? Because it's less good exercise. It doesn't really build that many skills. It's still good for my core. It's still like a social activity, but is it really worth it to me when I'm not doing performances and stuff like that? So it seems to me being good at ice skating would feel like flying the best way. Yeah, especially when you get thrown in the air by another person in a throw jump. Yeah, it does feel like flying. That is one of the exceptional things. Rachel asked, are those people still skating professionally? Like, what's the longevity on that, if you know? So professional skating and then like the level that you see at the Olympics has different longevity. So, it is not very long though. So like my friend Jordan, who I skated with, he went on to do Disney on Ice. And that means he's throwing 120-pound objects in the air because he's a male lead in Disney on Ice performances. He was in High School Musical on Ice. He was in Aladdin, I think. He's throwing 120-pound objects in the air, sometimes up to 3 shows a day, constantly traveling. So it is hard on your body, not to mention all the other risks associated with figure skating, and then Disney on Ice, which they like lift you up into the air and, you know, do all sorts of show tricks and stuff like that. That being said, that level of skating is not nearly as hard on your body as like competitive high level skating. So if triples and doing some triples in a show is very different than like training to have consistency in your triple toe. It's different than doing quads. The average lifespan of a female skater, unfortunately these days, seems to be about 17 is the age that they all retire at. One reason that I left at 17. But usually you can do it into your like mid-20s, depending on injuries, whatever it might have you, it at that high level competition. A lot of those people that are at high levels, so like Jordan was internationally competitive, when he moved to Disney on Ice, like that was the act of deciding that he wasn't going to compete amateurly anymore, because you lose eligibility through the International Skating Union if you're taking money for skating, unless it's in one of these sanctioned ones like Champions on Ice. And you can usually, if you're doing shows like that, you can do it into your like early 30s usually. There are people who do it much later than that, but that usually is kind of the point at which a lot of people decide to retire from professionally skating, which, by the way, doesn't pay super well. Like a lot of professional skaters have other jobs when they're on the off season. A lot of them go out to cruise ships, which obviously a lot of those jobs dried up for quite a while, because cruise ship skating is like how you make a living as a skater. I would say that some people's lifespans of their skating skills have been expanded now, because now some people have like popular TikToks and stuff like that. But coaching you can do forever. And as long as you're working on building up a coaching base, then, you know, you're not even going to hit the peak of your coaching career if you're doing it full time, which most ice skating coaches are not full-time coaches. But quite a few of the people that I skated with are full-time coaches. And if you're doing it full time, you're not even going to hit the peak of your coaching career probably until you're like 40s. And so, yeah, it's freelance. You make a lot per hour, but you lose students as they decide that they're not going to go to the Olympics, whatever. It depends on how skilled you are and what your own accomplishments in your skating career are, or what students you've coached, how much you can charge. There's like a rating system for skating coaches as far as like within the Professional Skaters Association, about rankings and stuff like that. So yeah, the age really depends. Obviously there's exceptions to all rules. The oldest person to win an Olympic medal in figure skating was also the person that won the most in men's, but he pulled out after the team competition at his 4th Olympics, and didn't do the individual competition because he needed to go into surgery. And like, you know, it's really hard on your body. So yeah. And we don't wear any protective equipment. So that's the struggle that I'm having right now. If we want to look at my budget, we can talk a little bit about kind of what's going on in my budget. So normally what I do for my freelance money is that I pay myself a salary and I budget it as an inflow. This is You Need a Budget, YNAB. I think I have a link for down below for my referral link. This is a budgeting software I've been using for like 15 years. And normally that's the way that I budget my income, is that like, Oh My Dollar pays me a check, and that's based on the accounting that I do in my separate Oh My Dollar accounting. The problem I'm having now is that stuff is coming into this account, and then I'm having to save for taxes like here, which is not great. I would rather pay myself a paycheck and keep the freelance money not on this budget, because I just don't like doing it here. So I'm kind of trying to figure it out. There is this account that I have. I have quite a few accounts because Oh My Dollar does this big review of budgeting app softwares, which, by the way, if you want to join and check out new budgeting apps, you should check a link. You get a sticker for it down on the forums, the Oh My Dollar forums. So check it out if you are interested in trying out a new budgeting app, or just giving a review on the one you love. It helps, and I will do a live stream about them coming up in Budgetober. I have quite a few bank accounts because I test things out for Oh My Dollar to make sure they're good before I recommend them to people. And there is one that I have that's called Lily, ironically, Lili. Maybe not ironically, just incidentally. And that one is meant for freelancers, so it takes deductions of business expenses out of there. The problem I'm running into is I already deduct most of my business expenses through Oh My Dollar. I try to keep that all in one account. And I'm kind of just running into, how do I want to do this? Because I do want to keep the Oh My Dollar income separate business-wise. Like, I want to keep that clean. One of the reasons I might do that is I have no intentions of this anytime soon, but in the long term, 5-10 years out, I might want to sell Oh My Dollar. And if I've muddled up my other freelancing income into the Oh My Dollar income, that could cause issues. But I also want to make sure that I have enough set aside for taxes. So I was thinking about switching to using that account, but it is a neobank, and I get scared with any of those neobanks because sometimes they shut down, they change, and I just don't know if I want to dump all of my freelance income into a neobank when I'm so used to USAA, which is what I've been using as my personal banking for like 25 years now. So I have kind of struggled with whether or not I want to do that. I could set up another business account at the credit union that I use for my business accounting, but I don't want to balance 3 budgets. I don't want to have a separate accounting budget for Oh My Dollar LLC, even though I will, or for Lily and Care Bake LLC. So, I mean, I know I'll have to file a Schedule C that's like separate from that. Anyway, I've just been struggling with what do I do. Newbold One says, if it brings you joy and keeps you fit. Well, that's the thing, is like, this is about the figure skating. It does bring me joy, but sometimes I wonder if the stress of the amount of time that it takes up to be good at it, the amount of money that it costs to really just maintain my level, like, I'm not getting that much better. I don't know if that brings me as much joy as maybe other things. So, oh yeah, and then the other thing is that I do all my SEP IRA calculations. So you're allowed to put 25% of your self-employed income into a self-employment IRA, which is how I do my savings for my business. It has a much higher limit than an individual 401k. I don't qualify for a traditional or a Roth IRA, but I need to not over contribute to my SEP IRA, but I like to do it on a regular basis because I'm into dollar cost averaging, which just means that I put a set amount in each month, and I'm buying things, over the long term. I'm buying cheaper shares because when the shares are up, maybe I buy less, but when the shares are down, I buy more if I have kind of the set amount that I buy on a regular basis. So I like to do that each month rather than waiting till tax season to figure out what I owe last year and then what I can contribute to the Roth IRA. To the SEP IRA. So that's the other problem I'm running into is like, do I do the SEP contributions from this USAA account because money's coming in here? Do I change my direct deposit for my other two jobs that both like took some work to set up with USA because I was too nervous to do the Lily bank account? I don't know. Y'all, we've been streaming for quite a while now. We've been streaming for 90 minutes. Should we be done with this? Does anybody have any questions? Is anybody still here? Let's see how much I've spent this year on skating. Let's find out. Yeah, so I spent an average of 152 per month on skating as compared to 2019. I spent 87 per month, so it is going up. New Old One says, were we going to do some shopping? Eric says, I'm still here. Or should we save that for next week? Well, next week I think we'll be back to talking about regular economics concepts. But the thing that I'm running into is just trying to decide if it's time that I can treat myself, because my income was pretty low for the rest of the year. But now I have more money coming in, and my temptation is to save it all because it's so close to the end of the year that I just want to like squirrel it away. But I also want some things that if I don't buy them now, they're not coming back. Like there is a brand that I really love that did a skating and riding historical clothing collection. And it's very expensive. It's EU made. But they have these fantastic clothes, and they're already out of my size in a couple things because I didn't buy it on launch day. But like, for example, this fabulous skirt that is actually hidden pants that is based on a historical secret pants that I really love. And then the thing that I'm obsessed with, but I absolutely do not need more of this. So I love this vest, this waistcoat, like with all of my heart, but I do not need more pink suiting at all. But I just, oh my God, this is just my dream waistcoat style vest. It's like a waistcoat, but it's got like the smoking jacket style. It's all like Edwardian. I love it. I want it. It is not cheap. And they're, I think, almost out of my size. So, yeah. Eric says, I'm curious about the Chinese mortgage crisis, but we'll wait until next week. I'm sorry. I just didn't have the spoons to do it, but I am really excited to talk about it. Maggie and Wood says, get in, lovelies. We're going shopping. So this is the thing I want. But it's not realistic. Like, I shouldn't spend this much. Oh yeah. It has this, look at this incredible riding jacket. Oh my gosh. Also want this. Oh, and the other side of this is a lot of the clothing brands that I really like are EU and UK based, and both the euro and the euro and the Great British Pound are real weak right now vis-a-vis the US dollar. And if the euro was trading below the US dollar, which almost never happens, and I was like, I should buy this now because I can like maximize, like I'm getting a discount just by earning my money in US dollars and spending in US dollars because of this. Newbold One says, if it brings you this much joy and you have the moolah. Okay, but here's the other thing about this. There is no logical explanation for me. I don't need more clothes. I own a lot of clothes. So this is very much in the want category and not the need category. My taste for clothing has gotten more expensive as my income has grown because I can buy more ethical brands and I can be more intentional rather than getting everything from free piles like I used to. Which is great. And I love to be able to support like small designers that make really great clothes. I absolutely don't need this. And then the other side of that is we are moving in 10 months. So like 10-ish months, depending when the triplex is done. So I shouldn't really be buying anything that's physical items at this point because we're going to have to move our whole apartment that we've lived in for 6 years, which is the longest I've lived anywhere in my adult life. And frankly, since I was 13, that was the last time I've lived anywhere this long. And we're just gonna have so much to move. I shouldn't be acquiring more clothes. Frankly, I need to buy more hangers if I'm gonna get more clothes. And I know everybody's like, oh, you should just get rid of clothes. Here's the thing. I love most of my clothes. I've been very intentional about my wardrobe. I have a huge spreadsheet of all of my clothes. I can like find this. I did this. I should do an update of this, but I have like a big spreadsheet of my entire wardrobe, and I keep track of like how many times I wear each item, and the marginal cost per wear. And I the only clothes that I need, that I would want to get rid of, are things that I don't like wearing but need to wear. So, for example, I have a lot of like pajama clothes, or which is great. Like, I'm not going to buy fancy pajamas. I just wear old t-shirts that I get out of free piles. So like those are the kind of clothes I would get rid of. And or they're like, I have two items that I do need to sell that are high value, in that like one of them is from one of these boutique brands I really like, and is like pretty much unworn, and then the other one is a vintage 1950s dress that I need to sell. Both of those require like a great deal of effort to sell, and considering I cannot sell this $40 bed on Facebook Marketplace, not feeling great about my ability to sell either of those things. So Aaron says, just say 1 year until the framing starts instead of 10 months. No, I've decided to be optimistic. Should start this week, right? Eric says, exchange rate discount. Yes. Okay, so the Great British Pound is so on sale, although it went up a little bit more like when the transition of power happened, post Queen Elizabeth died this week. For anybody watching this in the future, Queen Elizabeth II died this week, which she was 96. She lived a long life and was the head of state that colonized and colonized and had many countries gain their independence during her 70-year reign. So, ain't very sad about it. Not particularly happy with who they're in charge of, but I'm an American, so I don't really understand having a monarchy. Okay, so, but the pound has been pretty down, and related to building the house, we have this House Files channel. We actually finally put out a video on that channel for the first time in 6 months. The link for it is down below. And the House Files channel is all about the process of building this triplex. So the video we put out this week was an interview with our kitchen designer, who happens to also be Aaron's mother, who is my height. We are not tall, 1.5 meters or 5 feet tall, 4'11", 5 feet if I do a lot of yoga. And she talks all about how to design kitchens for short people. But Freddy's of Pinewood is this fantastic vintage like jeans small brand out of the UK, and I really want these things. But this is the thing, if this brings you so much joy, I love clothes, but there's like an infinite hole in my want list of clothes that I need. So like I have, for example, I have this sweater that I got secondhand from someone. Wait, hold on. There's knitwear. I have this amazing Edwardian writing sweater that is based off a historical piece in the Met Costume Museum, that is this fantastic Edwardian cycling sweater actually worn this way. And I have it in like red, and I want to get it in teal because teal is one of my colors. Do I need this? Absolutely not. Do I need to spend $150 US on a sweater that I already have one in another color? I could maybe sell that color because it's not like my primary color, but I'm like, will I fetch nearly as much of it? Anyway. Stormbright says, are you staying in PDX? Yeah, we are. We're staying in PDX. We're building in Portland. Honestly, if we weren't building in Portland, this triplex probably would have already been built based on the planning hassles here. So this is the problem, is that there is an infinite amount of clothes that I want. So should I really spend... I made like a full list of all of the clothes I want. And it is in the... I would be spending like $600 on clothes if I was really going to just buy all the clothes that I want. And $600 could sound like a lot or a little to you. It's a lot relative to the number of pieces I would be getting. Should I spend it? Probably not. I should probably save money. I haven't been earning very much money most of the year. Stormbright says, my mother is 5'2", and she had her kitchen that she designed once in her life had cupboards and counters built to her height, so I do not blame you. Oh my god, we're so excited. Neither of us is particularly tall. I'm very short. But Erin is not the tallest. So we are just both very excited because our current kitchen we live in a rental right now, and the rental it has very little storage that I can access on the upper shelves. I can only really reach the bottom shelf of the upper cabinets, and it goes like all the way to the ceiling. It's a fine kitchen. All of my New York City friends yell at me when I complain about it being small. It's definitely not quite big enough for our needs. It doesn't have a pantry, so like our issue is that our pantry is under our couch, like all of our like pandemic storage and like fire storage, for example, while the fires are on everything's on fire right now, like our backup emergency storage and everything is like all like our bulk oils are like behind the couch, because that's where we have room for it. So yeah. Stormray says, at least in Oregon, there's real code they build by. Here in Denmark, they bury all the wiring in concrete walls, so you have to be careful where to drill holes to hang anything. Oh, yeah, interesting. I mean, but at least concrete is seismically upgraded. I think that part is really nice. The like flip side of that is that we had a septic tank that we dug up. Septic or whatever. It was like a tanked gas tank that was dug up in the yard that had to be disposed of when we did this. But yeah, that is, Aaron says, that's terrifying. I don't know. Do y'all think I should just spend like $600 on clothes? Should I just do it? Do you think I'll come to regret it? I think it's important to really, I think you all need to maybe understand how much I've spent on clothes. So let's do the past. I did a no clothing by year, I think in 2019, but let's do the past several years. Select none. Now let's pick my clothing category. Then you can see just how much I spent on clothes. I spend an average of $69 per month, but now let's see how much I've spent, which is very reasonable. I think that's very reasonable. The guideline is usually 5% of your take-home income, which is hard for me because my take-home is not after taxes. 5%. I really am like a huge fan of 1940s clothing budgets, which are commonly printed because you've got like actual ration coupons for clothing during World War II. So they'd be printed. So I have spent $500 on clothes this year, which is $55 a month. So not as high as I thought it was. If we go all the way back to 2015 to now, apparently my average is $67 per month. If I do 2018, $69. Okay, nice. Fuzzbubble says, don't ask us, we're bad influences. You all just want me to spend money on clothes, don't you? Aaron says, you think I should do it. Newbold Ones thinks I should do it. Fuzzbubble says, yes, but the cute, well-made clothing. I mean, that's the thing, though. It's just like an infinite hole. Like, if here's what I'm worried about. I'm worried if I spend money on clothing, which, like, I do have the money. Like, I can allocate it in the budget. It's gonna, quite frankly, it's gonna come out of what I would probably spend, what I would probably put in my SEP IRA, right? Which is not, like, the best, but it would essentially offset what I would save in cash savings, because I wouldn't otherwise spend the money. The cash or SEP. The thing that's like hard for me to handle is that, like, yes, I do value my clothing as investments. Yes, I do get a lot of wears after my clothing. I have the advantage of my size has barely changed over the past like 15 years. So I have a lot of clothing I've owned for like 15 plus years. I don't like abuse it by putting it in the dryer. But the flip side of this, I there's an infinite amount of clothing that I could buy if I really just let myself go wild. And I'm kind of worried that if I just buy all the things I want to buy, it's gonna get worse. I'm just gonna open a can of worms. That's what I'm worried about. I feel like I need to have some barriers in place. Eric says that it's inexpensive due to the currency exchange. Easy for me to say, but the regret of missing out on something you really love. Yeah, I guess that's true, but like also I love a lot of clothes. So is it really relevant? And I don't need it. So like, should it really be where I spend my money? Probably not. Newell One says, being an economist, Lily knows this, so it's kind of like a reward for knowing. Well, that's the thing, is like, if I first noticed, like, when I have an alert for the Great British Pound, and I should have transferred money in TransferWise, which is like my bank account that lets me hold multiple currencies, wise.com. I should have transferred money the second I noticed how low the pound was, because at some point I'm going to buy stuff in British pounds, and I didn't, and now I kind of regret it. But Maggie in DeWood says, oh my god, this clothing brand is dangerously beautiful, and they have largest sizes. Yeah, the flip side of that is that they often go through a lot of their, like, you kind of need to sign up for their email list, because their stuff, like, the release day, especially some of their larger sizes, will go out, like, larger, any common size. So, like, you know, extra large, small, medium, XXL, like really common sizes where a lot of people are in that size category, will often go like out of sale like the day that they're released, within hours of it being released. So, you know, I was looking for this release and I was so excited about it, but I was just like, it's just not reasonable for me to spend this much money. New World One says, one more question. Will you feel like $1 million walking in somewhere with these clothing items on? Because if you will, I mean, I have so much clothes that I feel like $1 million in, because I have so much clothes. I think you all may not understand how many clothing items I have. I have over 200 clothing items according to my database. Stormbright says, you can save with shipping and have it sent to me in Denmark, and meet me at PDX when I fly home to see my family later this fall. My handle is pronounced Storm Breeze. Oh, Breeze is the Danish spelling. Okay, good to know. I kept pronouncing it wrong. I was pronouncing it well, I guess that would be the German way. It would be Breeze, wouldn't it? You think I would know that because I know you're Danish. I mean, reasonable. However, shipping is free from this, and I don't have to pay VAT if it's sent to me in the United States. So the cost of international shipping to the United States is cheaper than having it shipped from Sweden to Denmark and having to pay VAT. I have thought through all of this. New Bold One says, it is entirely possible we do not comprehend the sheer inventory largesse. Well, if anybody knows a good spot for me to do, redo this article. So I did this article, I think in 2017, about my database of clothing, for Vox. That was all of my like stats on my clothing. And, so it has like the full spreadsheet, and I wanted to do an update of it and talk particularly about the clothing budgets. I also realized that this is like a little unreasonable, because I write like one freelance article and I make about the amount of money that I want to spend on clothes. So like I could just do it. But yes, this is all of my total pieces of clothing. So my wardrobe has gone up in this total cost, but this was my total cost of my wardrobe. Most of my clothing was used at that time. I get a lot more new clothing now, because I now try to buy more clothing that is exactly what I want from these smaller brands. Oh, the other flip side of it is these smaller brands almost never have petite sizing the way that you might find with some of like the big box retailers. And because of that, I have to get everything tailored. Because I like this skirt, like that skirt that I want from them is going to be way too long on me. So, New Bold One says, there you go. You need them to update this article. I mean, I could absolutely write this article without write this article again. I need to find a home for it though, because I wrote this on Racked.com last time. And I'm trying to find someone that pays like 50 cents to $1 a word that it would be a good fit for. I don't know if Vox would be a good fit. I'm trying to find an editor that it would make sense to do this for. Financial Diet would actually be like a good home for it because I talk a lot about costs, but Financial Diet pays really poorly. So I'd pay like $50 an article, which isn't even worth it to me. So Stormbreeze says, the EU does not do petite brands, really. I have short legs, even though I am 5'5". Yeah, the petite stuff is a lot less common, especially in EU-made brands. It's not a huge deal. You can just get it tailored. And I can I do most of my tailoring myself, but some of the more complicated stuff, or like the really expensive stuff where I'm like, I want someone who's really good at sewing to like cut into this fabric. Stormbreeze says, I am Oregonian, born and raised in Salem. Also, I am not buying expensive clothes since I am losing weight from eating lower carb. Oh, interesting. I will be at Goodwill a lot since I have 20 pounds to lose. Yeah, I mean, that's been one of the advantages of staying very consistently the same size for me is that, you know, there's advantages and disadvantages to changing shape and size. But for me, one of the advantages of like being very consistently sized is that I can wear my old clothes and I don't really have to maintain the like, these are the clothes that I wear when I go up this amount of weight. So luckily, thus far, I have been in homeostasis as far as my weight. So when I was a figure skater, in the high competitive way, I was about 20 pounds lighter than I am now. And then as soon as I stopped working out 25 to 30 hours a week, and having to closely monitor my food, I immediately went up like 20 pounds. So, yes. The marginal cost per wear of this coat, is gone up so much more because I still have the same coat. And I still wear it almost every day of winter. So, yeah, it's totally worth it. All right, y'all, we've been streaming at this for a long time. Why don't you all tell me what you are looking forward to this week? And if you think I should spend this money on clothes, let me know. Tell me if you think I should spend this money on the clothes. Is anybody dissenting and saying I shouldn't spend money on clothes? Because y'all are just bad influences as far as I can tell. Tell me what you're looking forward to this week. What I'm looking forward to, as you saw, I have a really packed schedule. But tomorrow, my first financial advice column with Slate comes out. So look for the Pay Dirt column. There is one question in there that is only available if you're a Slate Plus subscriber. But you should check it out. If you are on my email list for Oh My Dollar, you will get notified about it. I won't tell you about that if you're on the text crew, but you can check the forums if you're a regular on the forums. But you should subscribe for SMS alerts. I will let you know when I go live for these shows. I know it's been long and wandering, but whatever. I don't want to do all the work I need to do. As long as I stay on the live stream, I'm working without actually working, and then everything's fine. Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to this week. I also am excited about the podcast that's coming out this week, so keep an eye out for that. It was a week delayed, but everything's coming along now, and I think that's what I'm just excited about the Slate article coming out. I also have a collaboration that I did with Patreon that is coming out about like surviving a recession as a creator that looks great. I saw the first cut of it. I'm not sure when it's coming out. I think imminently, so I will let you know when that comes out. Fuzzbubble says, podcast is back. The podcast feed is now back in my possession, and there will hopefully be a podcast on the feed. It was supposed to happen last week, and it didn't, but luckily I didn't brag about it too much ahead of time, so hopefully that means it actually happens this week. I'm really excited. It's been a long course of back and forth, and then my own issues with getting things out on the podcast feed. But yes, I am excited to report that it will be back out. New World One says, I have a lot of sleep planned and then some more sleep. The new landlord is coming next week to sort the garden, so I need to pick the blackberries before the brambles go. Ooh, picking blackberries. Do blackberries like completely overgrow in the UK like they do here? Because you have like pretty similar climate to what we have in the Pacific Northwest and more rain in the summer, I guess. But like here, blackberries are an invasive species and they completely take over a yard. And so there's like no hope. Like, I mean, we also don't buy blackberries in the store. You just pick them off the side of the road, but... Stormbreeze says, if you're going to buy anything on that site, get the hidden pants. You already have a sweater, but it does not raise your shipping costs so much. The teal is pretty. Well, the thing I want the most, absolutely the most, is the waistcoat. I didn't even get into the fact that they have historical figure skating outfits. Do you all want to see this? It's like they actually designed this for me. It's so, the whole like theme of this year, because they're a Swedish company, so they have a lot of like winter weather stuff because you need to have that. But that's the other thing is like I wear merino wool clothes when I travel. And I have one, I really need another merino wool dress, but I particularly would like another merino wool dress that actually is in my style, like the flared skirt, a little bit of puff sleeves, because almost all the merino wool dresses out there are like really athletic style, which doesn't really work for me for traveling. But the dresses are probably like the thing I should spend money on because it's the thing I need. I know I'll get a lot of wear out of it. It's very practical to me. And look at this. This is an ice skater dress based off a historical, like Sonia Henny realness right here. And so I just desperately want it. Puffed sleeves. I have Anne of Green Gables on my mind. Yeah, they actually did come out with an Anne of Green Gables title dress. This is called the Green Gables dress. It's not merino wool though. So, I don't get viscose for travel because also that dress will be past the floor on me. Maggie in DeWood says, oh my God, someone is going to prune the blackberries for you. That is amazing. Oh, okay. They're an invasive species everywhere else, apparently. But look at this figure skate. Look at this teal in my colorway little figure skating dress. It's unreasonable with the tiny pom-poms. The one that I should probably actually get for traveling is probably this one, which is more practical for me for traveling because I tend to overheat pretty easily. So I think the longer sleeves wouldn't be as practical. But then the question is, do I buy both of them? But that seems like excessive, right? So I think it's probably better to just not buy anything. Fuzzbubble says, buy the dress and the waistcoat. Y'all are terrible. Terrible. Figure skating outfits. You are a target market. Historical recreations of figure skating and cycling outfits. Yes, I am a target market. If there was anything that my like 11-year-old self wanted, people might not know this, but I dressed in historical clothing like very regularly as a child. Like full on, I would pick like a different year each year, and then I would like sew, and my mom would help me sew like historical clothing, including to wearing it to school sometimes, which is a really good way of getting beat up. Anyway. Maggie DeWood says, do it for your 11-year-old self. I mean, my 11-year-old self would be buying all the dresses if she had disposable income, so. Stormbreeze says, without the blackberry invasion in Oregon, there would be no Marionberry pies. Are Marionberries a crossbreed? I think I heard this the other day, that Marionberries are a crossbreed, as are salmonberries, I guess. I didn't realize that. I thought they were just like berries that were native here, but it kind of makes sense that they are a crossbreed. So glad. Oh, you said crossbred, which is even funnier, I think. But yes. Okay, interesting. All right, y'all. We are terrible. All this financial content we have watched, read, and listened to your channels, and here we are, the wings, cheering on your spending. Have we learned nothing? I mean, the thing is that people keep reminding me that one of the things I preach is spend money on things that you value. Spend money on things that bring you joy, especially if it's within your plans. Like, I get that. And this does bring me joy. But the problem is that all clothing, nice clothing, brings me joy. And the average cost of the clothing that brings me joy is hundreds of dollars. So per item. So the question is it really a reasonable thing to spend money on? I don't know. But I am still obsessing about it. And then Freddy's of Pinewood has historical clothing I can wear while working on decorating projects, like historical jeans and stuff like that. And now I want them. This, you were so careful. What price for joy? I think people are forgetting I didn't have much of an income for the first 8 months of the year. So part of it is just trying to rebuild my buffer and my savings back from having that now that I have more income again, quite a lot of income, but I do also need to save for taxes. All right, y'all. I will see you same time, same place next week. We will be talking about China next week. And then we're about to kick off a lot of budgeting content because Budgetober is going to kick off on the Oh My Dollar forums. So if you're interested in participating in that, you should join the Oh My Dollar forums. And I will see you all next week, 11:30 Pacific on Sundays, 2:30 Pacific Eastern. Stay safe, stay hydrated, stay away from the smoke if you're in the Pacific Northwest or California and everything's on fire. And I'll see you all soon, and I'll report back on whether or not I bought those clothes. Right? Okay.